Hey, everyone. It's Tuesday, and that means it's time for the Tuesday video, right? All right. And this week, I've got an amazing video that I think you're going to be really thrilled with, which is that I'm going to tell you about what I think is the best, quote unquote, secret play that nobody else is talking about for artificial intelligence. And I think I'm not alone in thinking that the next decades, not decade, decades are going to be about artificial intelligence. But before I get into all of that, let me do the legal stuff, which is the usual disclaimer, which is that this video and any of the content that is produced, made by company ATG Digital Media is not financial or investment advice. Past performance does not equal future results. Errors, mistakes, oversights, they happen. Capital loss is a likely and potential outcome. I, the owners, contractors, employees, associates of ATG Digital Media own, trade, transact in the investments that are mentioned in this video, that are in our model portfolios, in our updates, in my expos. What else do we got? Yeah, Ballman speculating podcasts, pretty much anything we put out. Yeah, we can assume that applies. I mentioned ATG Digital Media. I want to do a quick plug if you want to check me out. atgdigital.media is the website. We have paid subscriptions that begin at $9.99. We focus on innovation and growth, which means innovation and growth stocks and crypto. And that's actually kind of what I'll be talking about in this week's video. We have multiple tiers of subscriptions, begin at $9.99, and they have stocks and they have crypto picks. We do updates on a regular basis in which we talk about market strategy. We update the company, the crypto, and provide commentary. And if you want to check it out for free, you can go to paulmanpilly.substack.com and read kind of like an example of what you get if you were a subscriber. All right. So you've got, a lot of stuff going on in the world. I mean, everyone's talking about rising interest rates. We got Bitcoin starting to surge higher. People are thinking like, well, hey, what should I be doing? Where is like the big, next big thing. And that's what the subject of this video is about. Like, I believe that there is a gold rush that is unfolding right now for, you guessed right, data. So stick with me. I'm going to make some historical analogies. All right. Okay. So if I'm right, and remember, it's my opinion, it's my judgment based on my understanding of the world, right? No guarantees, no certainties. But if I'm right, we're like in a gold rush era for data. Why? Well, it comes back to what I was talking about artificial intelligence. Many people are focused on chips. Many people are focused on cloud computing. No. That's the wrong place. In my opinion, that's the wrong place. All right. The place that you really want to focus on for making big gold rush style money is data. Because you know what? Artificial intelligence is built on data. And the most valuable artificial intelligence is going to be data that can facilitate decision making. And why? Because that is what removes work. I mean, if you can find data that you can parse, analyze, and work out and turn it into something where, you can essentially just leave that there, kind of like you put your clothes into a washing machine and they come out clean, right? Essentially, you want, to be able to use the data, create some process which allows for decision making that previously used to take time, used to take effort, used to take resources, used to take, money and essentially it automates it. In other words, it removes mental work, right? The Industrial Revolution and everything that came before removed a lot of physical labor. Artificial intelligence, the revolution is to remove a lot of repetitive, routine, systematic mental labor, which today we have to sit and do. We have to sit and do again and again and again, even though it is the same thing day after day, week after week, month after one. That is where, in my judgment, my opinion, artificial intelligence is going to generate the greatest amount of value, the greatest amount of gains, the greatest amounts of profits. But where data? Where's data? Who has this? So, I mean, right now, my best understanding is that we've got like lots and lots of data that is sitting in this mishmash, this like giant mess, because no one really today anticipated that this artificial revolution would get going in, well, I mean, it really kind of like the fire sort of really lit with ChatGPT. And you can go and check, like, well, I think it was about like October, November, I did a video on this channel talking about ChatGPT and how, 2023 was going to be the year of artificial intelligence. And I believe in that video, I told people about Palantir Technologies. Now, this video is not about Palantir Technologies, right? Okay, just to let you know, right? But that's what flicked the switch. ChatGPT, flicked the switch. Large language models. Now I've seen at least like 30 GPTs for various different fields, industries. But folks, in my judgment, this is really not, where the big money is. I mean, if I'm right, we're sort of like in, California in 1849, right? So in 1849, someone found gold, and at the time, based on an article that I found, like there were just 15,000 people. Actually, you know what? Let me share the article with you. This up, but here's the article. So you'll see that 100,000 people, flood to California between 1848 and 1850. They're called, this is why the San Francisco football team is called the 49ers. It's because from, the year that the most number of people came was 1849. But the gold rush was kind of like, like they found gold and, all these people came in, but really nobody was prepared for this gold rush. If you look at this, property rights were not clear. Who owned the land? Who do you pay this to? Is there licensing fees? So it created like an entire new world. And that's kind of like where we are today with data. There's data sitting at financial companies. There's data sitting at Google. There's data sitting at customer service companies. And we are going to work out what is the most valuable data. What is gold? And then there's, various other, there's a lot of dirt that's out there. Just like when you pan for gold, you don't get gold all the time. There's like nuggets, and those nuggets are incredibly valuable. And right now, there are companies that are sitting on this valuable data gold. The truth is that right now, we don't really know. I'm going to say that, some of the most valuable data gold, if you will, is likely financial. Why? Because, well, money's valuable. Money represents, our store of value. Money represents the way we generate our income. Money represents our spending preferences. So much information is contained in money. So that financial companies in various ways have some of this gold, but yet it's a mishmash. They don't know what they own. Why? Because they weren't built for for an AI revolution. Forget an AI revolution. They weren't even built for really the internet age. I mean, many banks use like ancient programming languages like COBOL and Fortran and things like that. So, trying to work out who's got data gold. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll come across them, and when we find them, for sure, we will put them into our ATG digital model portfolios. And you can check us out at atgdigital.com. media. But right now, it's just really not clear. Kind of like we're like in like maybe like 1845, and California is still ahead, and 1849 is coming. And you know, it will be clear, I believe, when the companies, you know, understand that they own digital data gold. It will be clear. But right now, it's not so clear. I mean, we could throw, you know, money at like, you know, a lot of different kinds of companies. People say, well, what about banks? What about insurance? Maybe, but not all of them have it. And so that's a low probability bet right now. We need things to sort of proceed along. But there is sort of like the equivalent of what people consider picks and shovels, if you will. But, you know, that's really not the best kind of bet. But there is a bet that we can make, you can make, if you want, that sort of facilitates, you know, when we find this data gold, and people are hunting for it, like I said, because why? Well, it gives you a competitive advantage. If you as a company can automate, can intelligensify some process that right now takes whatever, 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, it takes 100 people, and you can essentially automate it, essentially just code it so that every time that decision needs to be made, boom, it happens. Every time the decision needs to be made, boom, it happens. Well, you are going to do it because your cost structure is going to be whatever, 30% lower, 40% lower than your competitors. Now you can cut price, take market share, you would be faster, you'd be more convenient, and business would just flood to you. So the setup is pretty much all in place, right? But let's say, you know, we find, you know, companies start to like work out like, oh, we've got this gold. Well, you know, as that article talked about, you know, when they found the gold, when the gold miners came, there was no way to sort out, well, who owns this land? Who owns this gold? I mean, how much? You know, all these claims. And this is where the opportunity is in terms of making really big money, because the market's not focused on this right now. But in my opinion, and I wrote a Substack about this, which is that the blockchain technology has been, you know, people write about it, and, you know, we had a huge crypto bull run, you know, that ended in like what, 2020, 2021. But largely blockchain technology is sort of like a incredible, fantastic, wonderful solution that has been in search of a problem. And in 2023, the problem has arrived, which is that we need all of this data. We need all of this data, which is like an energy source, sort of like oil for the Industrial Revolution. It's an energy source for the artificial intelligence revolution. And how can you sort it out? Use blockchain technology. Blockchain, you know, identifies data and puts it on the blockchain. It's singular. You know it's there. Its ownership is determined. You can set, you know, contracts, right? You can permission it. There's smart contracts. There, everything that you need to secure data, to allow it to be monetized, to be used, to be licensed, is contained in blockchain technology. So blockchains, and I would say layer one blockchains that have certain properties are going to be, in my opinion, inevitable winners of the AI revolution. And the market is not focused on that. And that's important because that means that it's not priced in. It's going to come as some form of a surprise. And that's when you get big gains. So I wrote a Substack, in which I'll share just a couple of pieces from. And in this Substack, I talked about only the cheapest and most useful and scalable blockchains are going to pay off. And then I talked about why, because we are now generating 120 zettabytes of data per year. So that's 60 times what we were doing in 2010. And just so everyone can have, it's kind of like a visual picture, like the iMac that I'm recording this on, I think it has about a terabyte worth of data on the hard drive. So 1 zettabyte is a million times bigger. I mean, we're talking extraordinary amounts of data. And so if you look at this chart showing you how much data we're generating by 2025, we're going to be at like 181 zettabytes. So we need these blockchains to be incredibly efficient. They don't necessarily have to be like perfect. They don't need to be technologically perfect, because again, using an analogy to the two energy sources that won out in the Industrial Revolution, what were they? Well, they were coal and they were oil. They weren't necessarily the most energy efficient, but they were cheap and they were scalable, they were plentiful. And then various entrepreneurs, I mean, Rockefeller famously for oil, came in and worked out the market, whether it be the transportation, the processing, the refining, all of these things came. Those are the two energy sources that won. So we know from that it needs to be cheap, it needs to be scalable, and that's what will allow all this data to be put on these kind of like rails. That's what the blockchains are, like rails. You're going to put all this data on these blockchains, and then from there you can allow someone that wants to mine that data, find data gold. And if they find gold, well, then the owner of that data gets a payment. They're incentivized to also to put these things onto the blockchain. So I understand that this is sort of like a little futuristic. It seems like it might be like, I don't know, 15 years away. Paul, this seems so fuzzy, wuzzy. Hey, look, just look at the world that we're in, right? I mean, we've got so much change unfolding in real time. We've got an AI revolution that is unfolding. Every company, every government, even people are seeking out like, hey, we know this thing is for real. We know this thing has huge impact. And whoever starts to work it out first is going to have that first sort of like mover advantage, where even if somebody else came up, by being there, you capture the market, and now somebody else is coming and get it from you. So it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And if I'm talking about it, I can tell you that, the folks, in these big sovereign wealth funds, around the world that have 1,000 people researching this, the folks who are, in big family offices, etc., they're going to come to this idea sooner rather than later, and they are going to come and bid up these layer one blockchains. So just to share the article with you, it's actually on my Substack if you want to check it out. I laid out what I think are the layer one blockchains that, just looking straight up, like, hey, which ones could benefit if this scenario is right? In other words, we're living right now sort of like, in like 1845, 1846. The gold rush is about to happen. What do you wish that you owned to prepare, knowing that, hey, you don't know where the gold is going to show up, but you know what the gold is going to go on. You're going to need like, some rails, you're going to need some carts, and you can be all ready for this. So when it's there, these assets are going to see huge volume. These assets are suddenly going to show tremendous earning power, and their value is going to do what? Is going to go up. Well, now you can see here, I say, to me, the ones that you want to focus on are the ones where you can already see that people sort of like understand this idea already, and they've begun to load data up on. For example, Ethereum and XRP, so they've been focused on the financial system. I mean, Ethereum has, essentially the entire decentralized finance ecosystem sort of built on that blockchain. XRP is working on financial transfers. So, the finance sector, which is among the most valuable, most likely is going to put their information on where? I mean, like where people are already there. Why? Because they're the most likely to scale. They're the most likely to generate, a cost that allows for, all those hundreds of zettabytes of data to go on. from there, then you look and say, like, then there's Solana, which I know a lot of people are super hyped on, and Solana is quite active in the world of NFTs. And then there's Polkadot, which is focused a little bit on gaming. There's Tezos, which has been involved in a lot of in things like elections and car registrations, and also in NFTs. In other words, each one of these sort of focused on a different part of the world, which is generating huge amounts of data. And right now, many people say, well, Paul, some of these are so small. Yeah, that's how it always is if you are buying before the thing happens, which is what you have to do to generate big gains. You got to buy it before it shows up on, whatever favorite news source that is boldly telling you, hey, this is huge. Because by then it's gone up, whatever, 300, 400, 500, percent, 1,000%. And right now we're coming out of a crypto winter bear market. And so, yeah, I mean, if I'm right, these things are setting up for an enormous run. I mean, after the crypto winter, what, Ethereum's I think top price, was 4,000. It's about less than half that. All the others are trading at, incredibly low prices. I mean, XRP has been involved in a lawsuit with the SEC/US government. So its token has gone nowhere for essentially like 5 years. That could explode higher. The other ones people barely know about. Like, I mean, how many people, well, people know about Solana. I think, fair number of people, but who even knows Polkadot or Tezos? Nobody knows any of those. So if what I'm saying is right, we're just like, we're going to put the world's data onto these layer 1 blockchains, then a bunch of these are going to end up being winners. Now, I don't know exactly which ones. Maybe it's 2 of these, 3 of these, maybe, either way, the top, I'm going to say 5 are going to generate the vast majority of the gains. Every technology, every market has that market structure. I mean, you can go look at any big technological revolution. It's essentially the top companies that generate the vast majority of the value. So yeah, there might be, a bunch of smaller ones that could turn out and people could go hunt in the haystack for those, or you could just go and buy the big obvious ones, which, I've included 5 of those in this video. And hey, you have a chance. Remember, not a guarantee, not a certainty, not investment advice, not financial advice. All right, that's the video for this week. A data gold rush is unfolding, not going to unfold, unfolding. And I've laid out 5 layer 1 crypto blockchains that stand a good chance, in my opinion, of being enormous, mega, giant winners when this scenario, for some folks, it'll be if. In my opinion, it's when this scenario starts to take off, which, hey, could be happening right now. All right. Thanks for watching. Come back next week. This is Paul saying bye.